Hey guys, back again for yet another deck profile update. This time it's Windwitch Trickstars featuring the Sky Strikers, and I've made some more improvements, and including some new additions. So now the deck is far more explosive than it was the first time, and yeah, I really like the results. And well, might as well not keep you guys waiting and get started. Okay, so starting off with the Windwitch engine, we run Triple Candina. This card is basically your main searcher of the deck, besides Light Stage. She searches out any Trickstar card as long as she's normal summon, and you inflict 200 points of damage each time your opponent activates a spell or trap. So, really powerful card. And of course, we have the best card of the Trickstar engine, Trickstar Licorice. Quick effect, you can reveal this card from your hand, then target one Trickstar monster you control, except itself. Special summon it and bounce the other one back to your hand. And each time your opponent adds cards from his deck to his hand, you can inflict 200 points of damage. And also, if you happen to have 2 or 3 of these, you can literally reveal all 3, target one Trickstar Candina, for example, and you can literally special summon that many number of these at one time. And of course, the last of our Trickstar cards, it's Trickstar Lilybell. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing, you can special summon this, so it's basically Water Pond. Also, this card has the ability to be able to attack your opponent directly, even if he has monsters. And when it does battle damage, you can target one Trickstar monster in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. So really good for that Firewall Dragon OTK combo, so definitely a must to run all 7 of these. So moving on, since we're running Wind Witches with this deck, we have 3 copies of Windwitch Glassspell. I'm sorry, not Glassspell, Ice Spell. Fail. But anyway, Ice Spell, what it'll let you do is like you can special summon this card from your hand as long as you control no monsters. And also, if you do that, you can special summon one Windwitch monster from your deck, and then inflict 500 points of damage. And also, you will not be allowed to special summon any other monsters from the extra deck except wind monsters. So just bear that in mind. And moving on, of course, we have Windwitch Glassspell. That's the one that I accidentally mentioned the first time. But if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Windwitch monster from your deck to your hand, except Windwitch Glassspell. And if you control, but you can't special summon any other monsters for the duration of the turn except wind monsters. And of course, the primary target for Glassspell is Snowbell. Snowbell, what it does is like if you control 2 or more wind monsters and no other wind monsters, or and no non-wind monsters, I'm sorry, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if it's used for synchro material towards a wind synchro monster, that monster will not be able to be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So it's permanent and it's inherent. So definitely a great card to run, and it definitely makes for that really difficult to get around Crystal Wing, you know. All right. So in total, we're running 9 hand traps. So starting things off, we got 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Amazing card. I still think it's really good for this format. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the grave, then target one effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster your opponent controls has its effects negated until the end of the turn. So it's a good way to deal with that Aqua Dolphin issue, and the fact that it's not once per turn, you could literally use it again to bait out that Called by the Grave as well. So, it's really powerful. So definitely run Effect Veiler 3. Triple Droll. Normally, like, you never Ash Blossom like cards like Rhoda, but if you want to, you could also you could actually Drone Lockbird them. They'll still get the card, but for the duration of the turn, they can't add any more cards to hand because a lot of decks are so focused on searching. That's why Drone Lockbird is so powerful in this format, and I still think it's the best hand trap. But speaking of which, we finally got it, and yes, I finally have 3 of these, 3 Ash Blossoms. Amazing card. This kills certain decks, like because not every deck focuses on the searching, but it definitely helps like deal with like cards like Foolish Burial, ABCs. I still see them quite a bit, and ABCs kind of lose when they get hit with an Ash Blossom. So yeah, it's also one of the best hand traps, and I'm just so happy I finally got my hands on a 3rd copy of it. So, but yeah, these are mainly our main hand traps, and they're so powerful in this format, so I definitely recommend these. So that's it for the monsters. That's about 22 monsters, I believe. So now we're moving on to the spells and traps, and of course we have 3 Trickstar Light Stage. Searches out any Trickstar monster when you activate this card, and once per turn you can target one set card on your opponent's side of the field, and by set card I mean spell and trap. He will not be allowed to activate that card until the end of the turn. He either has to activate it or just send it straight to the grave. So like I know some people still like to run the Solemn engine, so it never hurts just to lock out the Solemn cards. And of course, to get our Light Stage fast enough, we get 3 copies of Terraforming, so that practically makes it at 6 light stages. For Now, to make the deck a lot more explosive, we decided to run 3 copies of Scapegoat. Just because, like, Scapegoat is so meta now, is like, because it's literally, like, easy link plays. Make Link Spider, make Link Karibo, almost anything you want. So it's really powerful. And of course, as I mentioned, we're running a small Sky Striker engine, so we run 3 Hornet Drones. Because, like, yeah, once I get the Hornet Drone combo, getting Kagari and Shizuku, and that's where things, like, really start to build up, because, like, I can easily make Saryuja on my first turn, and if I'm lucky enough, I can actually make Firewall on the same turn as well. We run 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Just because, like, I didn't really like running it at 2, but you know what? In this format, it does come in handy quite a bit. And whenever I need it, it always pulls through. So just like, as long as I can get everything I need fast enough before I resort to using Pot of Desires, that's usually how I like to play the card now. So that's why I run it at 2. That way, I have a higher chance of drawing into it. And the last spell we run is Monster Reborn. Of course, every deck needs Monster Reborn. And of course, only 3 traps. The triple Reincarnation. Pretty standard, and Reincarnation is definitely a lot cheaper now. Definitely pick these up. They're about like $5 if you get the Battles of Legend one. These are the original ones, and they still go for about 10. But if you're just looking to save money, definitely get the Battles of Legend. It's the same rarity, so really there's no reason not to pick these up anymore. So definitely save yourself some money. Like Trickstars are like becoming a little bit more low budgeted. Alrighty, so moving on to the extra deck now, we got 2 copies of Sky Striker Ace Kagari, which we used to summon out using the Hornet Drones. But what this lets you do is, like, when it's Link Summon, you can literally add back the Hornet Drones you just used to make it, and then add it back to your hand, play it again, make another token, and then you tag out with Kagari, going into Shizuku. And then from there, you really start using, like, all your normal summons correctly, get all your searches going, and then try to get at least another 2 monsters of different names. That way you can make Saryuja later on. But yeah, these cards really make the deck far more explosive than it ever was, so that's why I'm really happy with it. Moving on, we got Link Karibo, as I mentioned. Link Karibo is definitely great now because, like, the fact that everyone has access to this card now. It's in the new starter deck, so definitely pick it up if you haven't picked one up yet. We also got Link Spider. Since, you know, the sheet tokens, even the Hornet Drones are normal monsters, but of course you're not going to use the Hornet Drones. You're going to mainly use the Scapegoats, so yeah, Link Spider's still great. We got Proxy Dragon, just requires 2 monsters to summon it. Topologic Trisbane, amazing card. If you special summon a monster, if a monster or monsters are special summoned to those link points that it has, you banish as many of those monsters as possible. Also, you banish as many spell and traps on the field as possible, and if you do, inflict 500 points of damage for each of those cards banished by this effect. So, like, you inflict points of damage not just by the spells and traps, but by the monsters that were banished as well. So Trisbane is pretty busted in this deck, so that's why I definitely recommend getting it. And it's not too expensive, like $6 or $7. Moving on, we got Trickstar Holly Angel, literally one of the best Trickstar Link monsters. And of course, Crimson Heart, which helps you get a little extra draw power. And I just like Crimson Heart. It's really powerful in this deck, so that's why I run it. Of course, I mentioned we get Saryuja Scourger, which is very easy to make in this deck. It's really not hard at all. And of course, finally for the Link monster, it's Firewall Dragon. And just to get the Firewall OTK combo, really busted and not difficult to bring out either. But yeah, you definitely want to bring out Firewall Dragon as quickly as possible and try to beat your opponent by that effect. We only run 1 Xyz monster, which is Tornado Dragon, which is basically our MST of the deck. And of course, you can use a Windwitch Glass Spell, of course, to summon it out. So it's not that hard because it's a level 4, and of course, Glass Spell does restrict you from summoning anything except wind monsters, and Tornado Dragon is wind. But of course, we run our 3 synchros for our Windwitch engine. 1 Windwitch Winterbill, 1 Stardust Dragon, and 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. All powerful cards, really great. I definitely love these cards. Honestly, like, I'm glad that the deck came out the way it did, so that's why I'm not disappointed. And also, I have a separate engine on the side just in case if I ever decide to side out the Windwitch engine, because sometimes the Windwitch engine isn't always enough, so you have to be prepared of, like, what you need to switch out. And honestly, with what I'm about to show you, it's okay to, like, banish these for, like, another card, and I'll show you what I mean. So starting off with our side deck, we got 3 copies of Phantom Skyblaster, and again, this is just to take out the Windwitch engine if I have to do that. But Phantom Skyblaster is basically the Gofu of this format. If this card is normal or flip summon, you can special summon any number of Sky Blaster tokens equal to the number of monsters you control. And also, once per turn during the standby phase, you can inflict 300 points of damage to your opponent for each Sky Blaster monster you control. But of course, you mainly just go into like your link plays anyway, so that's why it's like it's okay to use, but you mainly just need them for the token effect. Next up, we got 2 copies of Eater of Millions, which again, you gotta sometimes if I had to replace the whole Windwitch engine, I'll take out the ice bells, the glass bells, and of course the 1 snow bell. But Eater of Millions, you banish like up by five or more cards from your hand, field, or extra deck face down. So again, you get rid of all the wind extra deck monsters and maybe one link monster you think you're not going to be able to need. So that's why it's really good. And also, before damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you get to banish that card face down, and it gains 100 attack and defense points for every banished face down card. So it's really good. And since we run Pot of Desires, it also boosts its capabilities more. And for the last side card, we have an extra copy of Lilybell, just because like Lilybell is really powerful. And in case if you accidentally banished one with the Pot of Desires, at least you have a second one in store if you ever need it. So that's it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells, we got 2 Called by the Grave. Really good if you're going like first or second. My deck's kind of built to do both, so I'm always prepared of what's to come ahead. 2 copies of Forbidden Dress, which is really good to defend yourself against Infinite Impermanence, because Infinite Impermanence targets. And what this does is that you target one face-up monster on the field. Until the end of the turn, it loses 600 attack points, but it cannot be targeted or be destroyed by card effects. So that's why Forbidden Dress is definitely a great card to run on the side. It's honestly, I feel like it's equally as good as Forbidden Chalice, so that's why I felt like it was a great card to add in. 1 Dark Hole, and of course 1 Raigeki. Because not every deck's going to be Goki, of course, but there's at least going to be other cards you can use to destroy them, and these cards really help with that purpose. We have Upstart Goblin, and for the remaining of our Sky Striker engine, we have Jamming Waves. I prefer Afterburner, but Jamming Waves is a good alternative to use just to save a little extra money. If you control no monsters in the main monster zone, target 1 set spell or trap on the field, destroy it. Then if you have 3 or more spell or traps, or spells in your graveyard, you can destroy 1 monster on the field as well. And of course, we have Shark Cannon, which is basically our 3rd Called by the Grave, which if you control no monsters in the main monster zone, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, or if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field, but it cannot attack. But I prefer the banishment effect anyway, so that's why I prefer to run it that way. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, and hopefully you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys try this deck out and see what you think. And I'll catch you guys again next time.